was how do you handle multiple time zones, and do you do any things to help people with like working in a distributed way, like how their day works, work-life balance, kind of?
Definitely, yeah. If I start with the time zone, I might forget the second question, so maybe you need to remind me. With the time zone, so we have we rely. You're right. First of all, we rely a lot on asynchronous communication. Normally in an office, if I work with Thomas, I'm like, hey, I tap him on the shoulder and say like, hey, here's what's up. This is this problem. Let's work through it. Let's brainstorm on something, right? And now we are like both in it, right? Whereas with a distributed team, you have to send an email, and then like you say, right, someone wakes up 5 hours later, reads it, and then acts on it, right, without you being present. So in general, that is the structure a lot of the time. Things tend to actually not linger that long. And especially if people are excited to work on something, they jump on things when they find them in their inbox, or they jump on things just because they knew from the day before that they're still working on this. We do also we have regular sync ups, so we have meetings. We have we use this great software. It's called Squiggle. I can highly recommend you guys check it out. It's kind of like this always on. It's like a camera that takes screenshots of your face every minute, and you kind of have this place of people, and you kind of see everyone online. It's like almost like a true virtual office, and you can click on people and just chatting with them then. And so we have these sync ups with that software, and it gives us this feeling that actually everyone's online right now. Kind of works out, and there is always some overlap, right, as well. So even if you're in Hong Kong and I'm in Austria, and then you're wait a second. Let's say you're in Austria and I'm in SF. Say like your evening, I'm waking up, right? So we might schedule our sync ups if we want to chat, if we want to brainstorm in your evening and in my morning, and I might maybe have to get up a little bit earlier, right? I might get up at 7 or 8 and then chat with you, and you might stay on an hour later, and maybe you start working later, and then maybe I finish work later. And that's kind of the beauty, right? So people can make up their own time, and there's no there's no one looking over your shoulder like, hey, are you working? It's like, we trust you that you'll enjoy what you do, and if you don't, tell us, and we can try and solve that. So that's kind of how we solve the time zone issue. There is generally some moments where we feel like everyone needs to be together, or like a larger. It's very rare, I would say, like once every 6 months. We do try and get a Google Hangout going where we say like, hey, let's try and get as many people on this call because we need it, but those things are actually rare. And asynchronous communication works surprisingly well. I feel like we're getting a lot of good stuff done with that method. Yeah. Second question, work-life balance, right? Yeah, work-life balance it's great, and great question. So we have a number of other things that really help us. We have one thing that's called the daily pair call. So if you're by yourself all day, right, and you don't see anyone, maybe you work from home, it kind of can feel like, hey, there's no one around me. So what we do is everyone in the company is paired with one other person every day, for 1 week, and you chat with them for about 20-30 minutes, and you talk about what are you working on and what's your personal improvement for that week or that month or whatever time frame you have picked. And that's sort of a great opportunity for people to just, every week it changes, and there's no rule. So we have an algorithm that determines who's paired with whom. And so every day you have different people, every week you have different people. You get to know the whole company. You get to know them, more in depth. And so like, you get them to know as people, right? Because we can't take the whole company one evening and go and grab a beer together, right? So that's kind of our replacement there. We do another thing that we call, is called mastermind session. So once a week you have you're paired up with one person, and you chat with that person, and you talk about your achievements for the week, you talk about your challenges for the week, and you give each other feedback, and that's another great opportunity for us kind of to bond without being present, and kind of like support this more like the social need that we all have, right, of wanting to chat with people and being actually connected with people. And the third thing that we do is we do retreats. So about every 5 months we meet together the whole company in one place in the world. So it sort of doesn't matter where in the world, because it's far for someone and close for someone else. So for example, we had the last one in New York. The one before was in Cape Town, South Africa. The next one is going to be in Australia in end of January. We had one in Thailand. We had one in San Francisco. So we meet for 10 days and we all work together, and we have we sort of try to bond. Then that's the time where we then get to hang out, and people go and maybe are able to go to a bar. We go to do some sightseeing together, go to the beach together, and we kind of really get to know each other, and that really, really helps. Like that's actually really important for us. This is so important for us. We do that every people say like, oh, that's a luxury, you go to Australia and that's amazing, but it's actually essential for us, right? Because we don't see each other. It's really, really important. So those are some of the things: the pair call, the masterminds, the retreat, that really help us to sort of shape this the work-life balance and kind of our social needs as people.